We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. The pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history, from the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing.
Welcome to European E-Racing and the European E-Racing League, the premier NASCAR league for European citizens. Tonight it's time for the 5th round of our Next Gen series, which is run at Pocono Raceway, located in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, USA. Nicknamed the Tricky Triangle, Pocono is a long and fast tri-oval with 3 completely different turns with a banking of 14, 8 and 6 degrees. Pocono Raceway opened in 1971 and is 2.5 miles long, that's 4 kilometers. The NASCAR record of 183.4 miles per hour was set by Kyle Larson in 2014, My name is Niklas Falk, and I'm here at Eracing Studio in Stockholm, Sweden, and later we'll hand over to our friends at Racebot, and they'll be commentating the race, and then I'll be back with interviews and post-race analysis. But first, let's take a lap around the tricky triangle. So we're riding here with Daniel Solo from Alcantech NHR, and I have to say I really like this track. I think Pocono is really good on the calendar. We'll start off with a good old straightaway, heading into the first corner, 14 degrees of banking, and a fun fact with Pocono is every corner is actually modeled after a corner from a different track. I can't remember what the first corner was from, but now we're heading up to turn 2, which was modeled from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 8 degrees of banking, and almost flat with fresh rubber, I've been told. And then the final corner, turn 3, 6 degrees banking, and I think it was from Milwaukee Mile, actually. But that's one lap of the tricky triangle. I hope we see great racing here today. I think it will deliver. So once again, a big welcome back for the 5th round of the European E-Racing League, the Premier iRacing League, for Europeans who love NASCAR, and tonight we'll be at Pocono Raceway. We'll start the race at 5:25, the first qualifying 5:20, and we are racing every other week on Sundays with the EEL, and if you'd like to join, go ahead. And don't forget to check out our social media on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook and Instagram. We're at European E-Racing, and we also have a Discord server if you'd like to have a chat with like-minded who like NASCAR and oval racing. And also a big thanks to the guys at Racebot who'll take over later and commentate the race. But first, let's look at the highlights from Las Vegas.
The European E-Racing League and European E-Racing tonight. It's time for the 4th round of our series, which run at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
And we are going to go green flag racing here at Las Vegas, 150 laps to decide who is going to be the winner of the 4th round of this championship. And straight away, it's a fantastic start for Ocean Walsh. Alexander Alderson has got himself into a good position here, 2nd place already.
Really, he didn't have much help on that first lap at all. I think he's got Norbert Leitner there. Big shunt into the wall, and there's another car there as well, spinning around. We have the first caution of the afternoon, sorry.
It all came in this battle for the lead. The two leaders making contact, the 37 and the 24. Ocean Walsh was battling with Alexander Aronson, and they've both come into contact. Aronson wasn't even able to drive back down to the pit lane. Teammates are going to be helpful here as Norbert Leitner swings to the outside line. Not entirely sure why, but he's going to let a whole host of cars down his inside, including a very aggressive Eric Flicht, who makes it free wide, makes it work. And it doesn't work for some of those behind. Cars flipping into the air. We've got our 2nd caution of the day, and that was a sizable accident.
But there was some contact, and then bang, just turns around. Oh, that was a massive impact into the wall on the outside of turn 4. We're going to see this again though. They do go 3 wide. Down the inside goes the 95. And then some small contact, and then I think it was Norbert Leitner just trying to get out of the way. They're still 3 wide here, and there gets turned around, sort of minding his own business. And
we're going to have another new winner in the European E-Racing League for 2021. It's a 4th different winner in 4 races, but who's it going to be? Is it going to be Broström? Is it going to be Flicht? It looks like the 71's going to hold on. Flicht showed its nose to the inside, but couldn't quite time it deep enough into 3 and 4. So Linus Broström in the 71 car is going to win in Las Vegas and become the 4th different winner in 4 races in the European E-Racing.
That was a fun race last time at Las Vegas. Let's hope for as good an event today. So let's take a quick look at the Drivers' Championship. In the lead we have Eric Flicht, Linus Broström second, Marcus Hagman third, Norbert Leitner fourth, Kevin Adam fifth, Dominik Lukomski sixth, Alexander Arelsson seventh, Daniel Sola eighth, Jonas Gunnarsson ninth, and rounding up the top 10 we have Andreas Selander. And we have a lot of different drivers here in the championship. Ocean Walsh, a very fast driver, won't be driving good. And, yeah, lots of different drivers from lots of different nations. It's really fun to see. We also have a team championship where we have Alkentech HR by Newman Racing in the lead, followed by Force Esports and Force Esports Academy in third, Wannabe SRT Jello in fourth, Alkentech HR by SimLab fifth, Team Superior sixth, Wannabe SRT Black seventh, Acolytes eighth, Rising Star Motorsport ninth, and Nebula Esports 10th. We also have a country championship, and in the lead, not too surprised, we have Sweden, we have Hungary in second, France third, Spain fourth, Poland fifth, Ireland sixth, Finland seventh, Czech Republic eighth, Switzerland ninth, United Kingdom 10th, and Germany in 11th position. We'll also have a quick look at what we're competing for. From Cooler Monster, the first place will get a water cooling system, second a case, third air cooler and gaming mice for 5th and 6th. From Logitech we have a set with a headset and mouse for the winner, headset for second place, and third getting mice. And before we'll hand over to RaceBot for the race, a short message from our sponsors. So, not many minutes till the race, and we'll hand over to the guys at RaceBot, and yeah, I'll see you after the race with some interviews and some post-race analysis.
Hello everybody and welcome to RaceBot TV's coverage of the European E-Racing League for 2021. We're over halfway through the season now with the first 4 rounds behind us, and we still have 4 more to go at Pocono here tonight. Talladega's coming up in a couple of weeks' time with Richmond and Charlotte to finish off our season, and we are ready to go racing for nearly 100 laps around this very, very unique course indeed. A big thanks to the guys in the ESEN studio for delivering the pre-race show for us, as they have been doing all season long, but here with you to take you through the action here tonight. It's Ewan O'Leary, myself, alongside Stefan Schlacker. Once again, we're reunited after a few weeks, which is certainly a good thing, and we're looking forward to it. It's been a good first half to the season, and we're looking to ahead to the next half, where things get a little bit more strange in some ways. Pocono, Stefan, is a very strange place to go, in my opinion. Well, it's iconic, obviously, in NASCAR circles, but I've never really been able to get a hold of it. It's the most unique circuit I could think of, really, for us to go to on this calendar. It's going to be certainly a different challenge for everybody.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it is the tricky triangle for a reason. 3 turns and all 3 with much different banking. You really couldn't think of a much better combination than the Pocono Raceway really is, because you don't only need to be unique, but you also need to throw a challenge if you're already so unique like the Pocono Raceway. So they have done a really great job, and we see pretty much always very great racing, and I have to be fair, it is my most favorite oval that there is.
Yeah, I struggle to call it an oval sometimes, because as you mentioned, it's basically a triangle, which makes it, but I guess it still is sort of an oval, but it's a different challenge for all of them, and we've had certainly a load of different ones so far in the season already, really, with Michigan to start off the season, Nashville, Phoenix and Las Vegas. Fair few mile-and-a-half circuits in there, but we don't have another one until Charlotte at the end of the season, so if you are one of those drivers who prefers the mile-and-a-half, then you are going to be suffering for the next few weeks, to say the very least. But in the championship at the moment, Eric Blicht has taken a lead after missing out just about on the race win to Linus Broström, who managed to take it. He's only 10 points behind Blicht now in second. Marcus Hagman has managed to almost stealth his way up into third, with Norbert Leitner in fourth position at the moment, just around about 34 points back, which sounds like a lot, but it really isn't, considering it's 150 for a race victory here. Then you have to go a good 60 points back to Kevin Adams. So we're starting to see, Stefan, a top 4 define itself, and it's almost difficult to see guys from below that actually taking the title, because they are becoming an increasingly distant or increasingly behind these guys. 60 points is quite a lot for Kevin Adams to make it up to 4th, to be honest, so I'd be impressed if he can make up all those points.
Yeah, it is an increasingly slimmer chance that he really has to get up there, but it is oval racing, so you never know what really comes your way until you're at that deciding point. So everything still is possible, because as long as you're mathematically having a chance to win the championship, well, you still have a chance to win the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to factor in the drop round as well before we get to them, which is going to be a little bit of a nightmare for everybody, but we are going to have to figure it out at some point, and that may allow somebody from a little bit further back to jump up. For example, Norbert Leitner in 4th at the moment has got the worst score of anybody on a singular round, with only 75 points back at Nashville, so that's going to go away for him. Whereas the others are going to be hit a little bit harder, because they're going to have more points taken off them, if you see what I mean. So, yeah, that's it could play into Leitner's hands, and certainly some of those further down, like Ocean Walsh is an example. The winner from the first round has got a 0 to take away, so that could really propel him up towards the front. You never know, so we'll wait and see on that one until we get a little bit deeper into the season, but the drop week is going to play into effect, certainly. But qualifying is underway now. It's at least starting. We've got 5 minutes. Normally in these NASCAR qualifying sessions, you kind of build up through the first lap and then really go for it in the second, but Pocono, the way it is, you don't really need to build up through the first one, you just kind of go for it on both attempts. That's what everybody's going to be doing here in this session. You've only got 2 laps to do it, the pressure is really on, and you've got to at least get some kind of lap in, so you're not starting in the back of the field for this race.
Yeah, I mean, Pocono is just like that. It is a little bit harder to overtake, even though we have those long straights. But the braking zones and the way the the layout is for Pocono. The real overtaking points are only turns 1 and 3. Obviously turn 1 it is a little bit risky because you really have to dive down below the other car to really make a pass, but then you run the risk of getting washed out wide at the exit and either hit your competitor or hit the wall, whichever is worse. You most definitely can decide. And for turn 3 it is just such a low banking. You have a high entry speed, but you really have to get it wheeled in and slow down quite a lot to make the apex and more importantly square off that turn, because there is that very long front stretch that you have to come by with.
At the moment, we're seeing Daniel Solo, who's currently on the top on the standing by 33 thousandths of a second. Andres Landers in second, with Eric Blicht in third. Most of the guys are out there at the moment setting lap times as Aronson just goes to the front. We're staying on board though with Linus Broström now. He's not set a lap in qualifying just yet, but he is preparing himself to do so. Very, very close as always, but that's what you expect really. There's not too many places to make up time in an oval, so he does tend to stay close, but that doesn't mean it's a less of a skill to be able to get pole around here. You can certainly see though that some of these drivers are having building up like laps, like Robert Erling, who's a long way down, as we see Rickard Allard making his way up to the front. That's a debut drive from him, but clearly going very well, as Solo is proving that the second laps are still likely to be the quicker ones, despite the building up of momentum not being as much of a factor. It's still better to have that second lap in your tyres to really then go for it. So the times are going to tumble here in the final few seconds. I think it's safe to say that.
Yeah, most likely to have that luxury right now. Obviously, it isn't so much about the tires being warmer, it is much more about the fuel load going down. Obviously, with these guys using fixed setups, that means they're running also in qualifying with the maximum allowed fuel load these guys can take. And so obviously second lap is going to be a little bit quicker just because you have less fuel in the car.
But even just gets up into second place there very late on in the session. We've only got just over a minute to go, so Broström is cutting this one slightly fine. I think it's fair to say, but he should be able to make it in time for the line. It's a shame to see that Leitner is not on the grid here today. He's still going to, if indeed this is his only zero this week, then he'll be able to get that taken off from the drop week, of course, but he'd still rather not, I would say. But anyway, let's see what those guys who are in this session can actually do. The likes of Broström and Blicht, Hagman, all of those guys as well. So yeah, there we are. They're going to have to make use of that, certainly, as Broström comes over the line right now, trying to do just that. Is it going to get him anywhere? Fourth place, so just under a tenth down. Kevin Adam gets himself up into second. He was very late to take to the circuit, but he's made good use of it. Looks like Bertrand Fournier has not decided to qualify here at Pocono on this occasion. So there are your qualifying results. Solo from Adam going to be on the front row. None of the championship contenders really up there at the moment. Hagman and Broström, 4th and 5th, are the ones furthest up towards the front, but we saw this at Las Vegas. Qualifying doesn't really mean much because these races do indeed develop over a long period of time, and so you know, it's very possible that you can make your way through the order, and these are the guys who are not going to have to do that because they're starting at the front. Solo and Adam on the front row together, with Uvinen and Hagman just pushing them off the start. You can imagine Linus Broström is making a top 5 ahead of Rickard Allard, who has made the top 6 in his first ever European E-Racing League race here in 2021. And it's Alexander Arndt Aronson who has got into 7th place ahead of Eric Blicht, who's championship leader by 10 points at the moment. And then we are going to be seeing Andres Allard in 9th position, excuse me. Jonas Gunnarsson in 10th. Erik Lundberg 11th ahead of Robert Erling in 12th. And then Martin Capel and Bertrand Fournier are going to be starting on the back row here together. The championship leaders in the middle of the pack. It's obviously going to be very difficult into turn 1, Stefan, but I was quite relaxed about the fact they're starting at the back. You would be a little bit more concerned that they're going to have to make their way through the field at over like Pocono.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it is very hard and risky to make a pass here at Pocono. As said, turn 1 you really have to dive down there, and then you run the risk obviously of washing out wide at the exit. And turn 3 is the only other passing opportunity. Technically, if it would be in a faster car, i.e. The IndyCar, turn 2 would also be a passing opportunity, but in the NASCARs it's not that much of a passing zone, just simply for the fact that you really have to struggle through that turn to even make it just one wide through that turn. I mean, obviously the straight between 1 and 2 is a passing opportunity, but that is only if the pass didn't completely fulfill itself through turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. It can carry on through there, which is where it gets a little bit dangerous on occasion. But let's hope that it's a very clean race today, as everybody rolls off pit road now. You can see them all lined up all properly, and finally they'll be getting underway. Forneray at the back there doesn't look like he's getting away too quickly, so hopefully he can actually manage that. And he'll be making the start along with the 13 other drivers who are on the grid here today. It's a very difficult turn, one with the highest banking of any turn that we have at this circuit, and it's also the tightest. But the fact that it's turn 1 does make things a little bit dangerous for everybody, really, because I think people are going to want to make up positions as soon as possible, and turn 1 is a recipe for disaster if it all goes wrong. But let's hope that that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, you only can hope for the best, especially with such a limited amount of drivers for a race. Any wreck would also already mean that a lot of cars, percentage of cars, would be out of the running. It's going to be really interesting how these guys are going to handle the falling off tires, especially through turn 1, because right through turn 1 you can have problems of oversteering out into the inside wall.
Absolutely. So the pace truck just leading the field around at the moment, ready to kick off the 5th round of the European E-Racing League here for 2021. We're halfway through the season now, and we've still got 4 more races to go. As you can see, Tony Uvinen very, very ready to push Daniel Solo to the lead right now. He's now in control of the field, waiting and making them wait a very long time indeed, but finally here's the gas and goes, and already has a couple of car lips on pretty much everybody right now. Uvinen not able to help him in any way. Kevin Adam getting a lot of help here to the outside line, but they all form up on that outside. 3 wide through the middle, as you can see. Let's hope everybody gets through the first turn cleanly at the very least. It's Daniel Solo who's converted a pole position into a race lead through the first turn. And it's Kevin Adam who's jumped up into second, Brostrom third, Hagman in 4th at the moment as they single file themselves out at the front. At the back of the field, it's a lot more messy than that going through turn 2 for the first time, hoping that everybody stays clean through there as well, and they do indeed. Everybody getting a little bit restless indeed, and Brostrom starting to apply the pressure to the front too, but a very, very good start from Solo, it has to be said. He got a very good jump on the field there.
Oh, the first mistake through turn 1 from Tovi Oivonen here, so he is going to be in trouble as well of getting into turn 1 as 4th place driver, as we also have to pass for first. Kevin Adam is jumping the 13, or maybe not. Daniel Solo is able to quite nicely hold that outside line, but there we go. The 79 finally passed on the exit of turn 1, and immediately Linus Polström to the inside of the 13 for second place. Maybe gets a little bit pushed by the 12th, but it's all too late as they now enter turn 2 for the second time, 2 wide.
Two teammates forming up on the inside line there. Solo being pushed out wide by Brostrom, who's into second place already. Bit of weaving around from Kevin Adam, who's trying to take advantage of this and run away from the field, much like what we saw with the first few drivers at Las Vegas. We saw people running away with the race lead, and Solo already struggling. I wonder if his car much more set up for qualifying than it is for the race so far. Kevin Adam trying to break the slipstream. Goodness me, look at that, they're going everywhere at the moment. Hagman following them to try and get the draft and go past Solo, who's having a terrible time in things at the moment. Uvinen down his inside as well right now, with Eric Blicht close in attendance. So there we are, through turn 1 they go, and look at Solo at the moment. He's dropping like an absolute stone, but he's finally got Eric Blicht to help him on the outside line there, and at least he can hold on to 4th position. The battle for the lead carries on now as well, with Broström on the outside of Adam.
Yeah, very interesting. Quite high aggression right now in the top 5, 6, probably even 7 positions of this field. Really nervous these guys are as well, with a lot of shuffling going around. People trying different lines right now to maybe save a little bit of their tires. But nobody currently has a worse time than Robert Elling in 13th place, because Robert already hit the wall once out of turn 3 last lap round.
Yeah, we've seen a few curve calls and a few pieces of contact with the wall as well, but now it's really starting to form up, almost like what we're going to see at Talladega in a couple of weeks' time. It's really starting to form up in a big train now. Hagman and Gunnarsson swapping positions around. Solo getting through on the inside line, being pushed to glory at the moment by Eric Blix, who's trying to get himself up towards the front. The 8th place qualifying position for him, not phasing him for the moment, but things are still packed up, so it is a little bit easier to overtake than it would be in a pure single file train. Gunnarsson, you can see on the inside line, trying to have another go at Hagman there. He briefly got through on him through the tunnel turn, but Hagman got the run in him again, and through they go. Oh, that was very close. Hagman with a brief kiss on the wall there.
Yeah, not only that, but also Daniel Solo with a little bit of a slide out of turn 3. First time I saw that. Even in practicing, I wasn't able to get that done, what Solo just did. But yeah, these guys are continuing to be extremely nervous. Too wide for so long, for so deep into the field as well, because even 10th place is still side by side. Technically, even the top 11 right now are pretty much too wide.
Yeah, absolutely. It's starting to, the top 4 have at least got themselves into an orderly queue, but the rest of that is pretty messy behind, with Gunnarsson and Hagman fighting it out. Goodness me, we're seeing free wide in the background with drivers not knowing where to go at the moment. Alwardsson's got a terrible run off of the tunnel turn there, and he's dropping like a stone briefly before we get into turn 3, and just as soon as we were saying it's getting single file between those top 4, it all starts again with Kevin Adam going to the very inside line to try and break the slipstream. But when there's 2 cars formed on the outside like that, there's no way you're going to be able to do anything on your own. Look at that. Solo and Blicht got themselves 1 and 2 purely by pushing each other to the front.
I'm honestly not sure what the 79 is trying to do there. Maybe he has some communication problems and he actually needs to point at his crew. But yeah, there's no need to go all the way down there. You can just break the slipstream by moving 2 lanes down. You don't need to go basically through the pit wall to break that draft.
And he's paying the price for it at the moment. Allard has got on the outside line of him, and this is what happens when you're left out on your own. This is almost a plate track thing. If you're left out on your own, then you can drop to the back very, very quickly indeed. And fortunately, Adam was able to get in line, but wasn't before we'd lost 5 positions from his lead in this race. His teammates starting to form up, Blix and Solo helping each other, with Eric Blix now leading a lap there, so that's 5 points to him in his championship charge. That's probably why they swapped, in all honesty. But you can see the black and gold cars of Broström and Hagman forming up on the inside line as well, Blix and Solo helping each other all at the same time. So interesting teammate dynamics going on at the moment, I think it's fair to say. Force Esports on the inside line at the moment, getting themselves to the front just by helping each other.
Yeah, still very nervous throughout the field. By the way, Martin Kappel, now the last car in the field. Robert Elling also starting to really drop off. And right now we still have the top 10 all together, with 11th and 12th side by side in the background. And then you have that big gap back to Robert Elling, who, as mentioned before, has already hit the wall once. And it seems like Martin Kappel did the same thing, because he's starting to really be slow compared to the guys ahead.
They go into turn 1 again. There's a lot of movement going on, and some of the guys out wide are really struggling there, but they're going to gain a bit of speed back after the corner. I'm really impressed with this racing, though. I was a little bit fearful, because after seeing NASCAR at Pocono in real life, I think it's a bit stale on occasion, but this has been anything but that. It's been excellent entertainment for the first 8 laps. That's very wide from Eric Blick, though, very nearly into the wall. He's got his teammate to fall back, unfortunately, but that is almost certainly going to lose him the lead as he goes on the outside line through 3. You can be sure that Broström is going to be leading this lap.
Yeah, the whole of top 10 is right now side by side, by the way, so 2 wide, 5 deep. this field currently is, as there's once again much movement out of turn 3 wide, even at the very back end of the top 10, and this now means that 11th and 12th once again have caught up.
Absolutely, they go through. Oh, that's very close to 12 of Hagman. Nearly got hit by Allard there as they go through now. Weaving around all over the place to try and get a bit of a pace, and look at that down the inside. Kevin Adam making a bit of a resurgence. He led earlier and now he is trying to come back again, because if you remember, he dropped down to about 6th or 7th, and all of a sudden he's back up to the top 5 again, demoting the 2 Force Esports cars. Broström, after leading a lap, is now knocking on the door of leaving the top 5 here, so it's all changing very, very quickly, and I have to admit that there's a lot more pack racing going on than I was expecting.
Oh,
it's in the background. There is a car on its roof almost.
Lundberg.
Looks like Lundberg, who has gone, he's gone over and over and over again. Goodness gracious, that is a huge accident on the front straight. Looking forward to finding out how on earth that happened, but that is a huge, huge accident. Here's the replay.
Yeah, it is going to be happening between Fournier and Lundberg here, right out of turn 3. I'm not sure what happened to Fournier. That just has a little bit of a wiggle and then just drags out to Lundberg, and these two collides, and then, yeah, this is ugly to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Goodness me, that is a very, very big accident indeed. Lundberg is going to struggle to get back into the race at this point because... yeah, he's got a lot of damage on that car. You can imagine he's going to spend a long time in there. You've got to complete 90% of the race to be able to be classified. So if he goes 10 laps down, then he is not going to be classified from this race. So he needs to be repairing that one within the next 10 minutes or so, even with the caution. Otherwise, he is going to be struggling. What do you think is going to happen here in the terms of the pit strategy here, Stefan? Is it too early to be making pit stops just for the moment? Does it really matter when you pack racing like this? Is it more about driver skill than what you've got underneath you with the tyres? Or are we going to see literally every car down on pit lane in the next few moments?
Most definitely would be a stupid idea to go into pit lane right now, if I'm quite honest with you. We have lap 11 right now of 95, and remember, these guys only are allowed to have 4 sets of tires, so right now it's just not the time, because if you're going in the pit lane right now, you're gonna hurt yourself at the end of the race. However, obviously, question is, how do these guys feel right now on the tires? If they think they have them used up already after just 11 laps, well, they basically have to pit in. So it's a lot about what the drivers decide right now, what they feel is necessary to get them a jump on strategy. I don't expect anybody to come in, but you never know what these guys really think right now underneath the helmets.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big moment already early on in the race. You've got to remember as well that they've only got 4 sets of tyres to do this race on. That shouldn't be too much of a problem, even if you do pit now, but it is something you do have to bear in mind. Eric Blicht comes in, Kevin Adam follows him. Are the rest of the field going to do so? Kevin Adam nearly didn't make it in there, he was struggling, but everybody, every single driver comes down pit lane right now, so they've decided that the tyres are not worth carrying on with. It's just time to make the first pit stop of the day as they all look for their pit box and try not to overshoot, because these cars can be notoriously difficult to get into the pit boxes on occasion. They get up on the...
Actually, Kevin Adam did overshoot his pit stop.
Yeah, that's going to be really damaging. Oh, 2 tyres. 2 tyres for Marcus Hagman, who's going to get out first. That looks like Eric Blicht. Tony Uvenen looks like he might have done 2. As we go out now, Eric Blicht manages to get out. Kevin Adam has not actually lost any spots in terms of those who've made 4 tyre stops, mainly because some of them have gone for only 2, and some very long pit stops here. Daniel Solo, we saw him briefly scrape on the wall. Maybe that is what he's repairing right now, but interesting from Hagman and Uvenen to roll the dice like that so early on.
Yeah, especially as the leader, I wouldn't have pitted in here, because you're... I mean, right now, nobody has put themselves on the back foot, really. except for Hagman and Uvanen, everybody has gone for 4 tires. The question though is here, how will that affect not only their handling but also their speed? Because obviously now you have left, I'm assuming they did take right side tires. You have left side tires that are worse for wear, so that means they're going to understeer. However, the right side is going to be able to grip more. So it does offset your balance. The question is, with the setup they have right now and also the new gen cars that we have, how is that balance affecting the car right here at Pocono? We don't really know. These guys probably also not 100% sure how that's going to work out, as Tony Ulvanen goes into pit lane for a second time. Interesting. So yeah, it remains to be seen what these guys can do on the next couple of laps.
Daniel Solo follows him in as well for whatever reason. Both of these guys are pitted last time around, but why are they pitting again is the biggest question here, as they form up 2 by 2 for the restart, which is coming up in just about 2 minutes time, you would imagine. Let's see how long these pit stops are. Uvanen was one of those who took only 2 tyres last time. Is he taking left sides this time? Did he mean to do right sides only? Well, it's a longer stop than just a normal tyre change at this point. Solo has gone out though, so that's not too bad for him. He's out in 12th position. Uvanen gets out as well, so a big mystery to me, that one there, Stefan. I've got absolutely no idea where they came in again.
No, I mean, Tony Ulvanen only took right side tires. This time he only took left side tires. Daniel Salo also only took left side tires here, so very interesting. Really does seem like they didn't mean to take right side tires only.
Seems to be a bit of a mistake. I'm a little bit disappointed by that because I like it when a driver rolls the dice. It does make it interesting for us commentators and spectators alike, you at home. So yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to see how Marcus Hagman gets on here. He's going to be leading the field, but as you mentioned, he's going to have that very unbalanced car with the fresh right sides and the very worn at this point left side. So you never know how that's going to affect the handling. You can be sure he's going to try his best to adapt to that one, but it's very difficult to do that in a race situation. Hopefully he has got a bit of experience with this right side only strategy, because it's not for the faint-hearted, we'll put it that way, as we come towards the green one more time. The turn 3 has been negotiated. The pace truck is going to pull off to the right hand side, and Marcus Hagman is going to be in control of the field once again. Green flag is back in the air, but not a fantastic jump. Kevin Adams doing most of the work for Marcus Hagman at the moment, pushing him towards the lead of this race. Eric Blick not getting very much help at all on the outside line. He's getting absolutely monstered by at least 4 cars, and might well be even more as we go into turn 1 though. He gets a nice flowing run around the outside because he's got nobody in front of him. And so he's going to slot into 3rd, maybe 2nd, with that little bit of help on the outside line now starting to help him out. But Marcus Hagman has converted this lead into at least a turn 2 lead at the moment. Kevin Adam applying a lot of pressure to him though. Look at this.
Yes, at least right now his tires work a little bit better than the sticker tires of everybody in behind him. That is obviously because the worn tires, they heat up faster, and thus they provide that grip faster. But obviously, with the left side tires being old, that also means that they are going to lose grip fast because they start to overheat. As now the 79 goes once again to the inside. This time stays somewhat on the racing line of the inner line, but 95 pushes the 12 back into the lead.
Yeah, he was really hung out to dry there by Eric Blix, and Kevin Adams is going to remember that, you can be sure. And now Marcus Hagman may begin to struggle with these tyres, although he continues to get help from Blick here. If Adam can stay alongside and he can't hit, then it would have been good through turn 2, but in the end it's not turned out very well at all. Eric Blix is going to find himself in 2nd place, and very shortly, if Kevin Adams not careful. Here they go into 3. Marcus Hagman all of a sudden has got a couple of car, well, maybe just about a car length for the lead. As around the outside, Gunnarsson's turn to try and make it work on Kevin Adam, and it looks like it's going to here. Absolutely no help for the 79 whatsoever. Almost no gaps for him to slot into, other than letting Andre Solander past as well, and then finally slotting in. But is he going to be able to with Arudson coming up fast on the back? Look at this. Kevin Adam is going to be furious with everybody, because not a single person in this field wants to dive down to the inside line and help him here.
Yeah, unsurprisingly. I mean, Kevin Adam, he had the chance to slot in behind Andres Cylinder, but he would have needed to lift off the throttle there a little bit to make Cylinder go faster past him. Obviously, with the speed that Allison was carrying in the draft, that was always going to be a gap that would close. Finally, though, he went into the top line once again. So he did find the gap here between Cylinder and Allison, but obviously he lost a lot of time right there.
He did indeed, and it remains to be seen if he's going to, if any of these step out of line, is he going to try and follow them, because they've recently kind of left him out to dry. Is he going to return the favour as he ducks out of line again? But no following from Araldson there. It has got him in front of Salander here. Oh, and he's into the back of Gunnarsson. Can he hold on? The 33 holds on very, very sideways through turn 1, and now it's all over the place as we're free wide. Kevin Adam right down to the inside. Neither Gunnarsson or Adam have got any help here as Allard is pushing these two through. Salander manages to get himself clear. Araldson just about as well, as Allard manages to get himself around the outside as well. So a bit of a switchback from Gunnarsson. You can be sure those two aren't going to be best of friends after Adam got into the back of the 33 through turn 1.
Yeah, Adam continues to be highly aggressive and nearly pinches the 33 down below at the yellow line. So he has to be careful, because the moves he's doing right now aren't the smartest, and that can always spell trouble, especially in the later stages of the stint when the tires are starting to really get hurting.
Absolutely, it's got into a bit of a gap opening there. Kevin Adam has just slotted in front of Linus Broström so that it doesn't get out of control, because this is exactly what happened at Las Vegas. A gap like that got out of control and the race win was off up the road and gone. In recent races though, certainly Nashville and Las Vegas from what I can remember, we haven't seen late cautions particularly. We've seen a long green flag run to end the race, but given the way these guys are driving at the moment, it's difficult to see this race going green till the very end. It's very close racing, very skillful driving for everybody, I might add, but also very, very dangerous for everybody, you might imagine.
Yeah, especially right now if you're around Kevin Adam. Have to say that, because once again out of turn 2, an aggressive move to the inside, nearly losing his car as well, or looked like he nearly lost it there with a dive that down, that low out of turn 2. As look at that, Cylinder extremely wide there in 4th place, and Broström moves himself past the 33.
He does indeed. Top 5 again for Broström after a slightly slow pit stop that has bumped him down the order a little bit. But we're finally getting some resemblance of single file, other than Kevin Adam, who doesn't really know what that means. He just wants to go for it at all times, really. And I can't really blame him for that. He wants to get on with it and move forward in this race. But this the way this race is working at the moment is making it very difficult for him to be able to do that as we come up towards lap 20 of this 95 lap race here at Pocono. It's been enthralling stuff so far, pack racing completely everywhere, and stuff like this happening all the time. We saw a glimpse of possibly a 4-wide opportunity between those battling pair of cars, but didn't materialise because we're still early on in the race. But finally Eric Blixer's got tired of following Marcus Hagman, because he has got the extra tyre grip, and so it's his time to really go for this. Once again, Blixer's got a teammate in the form of Andres Allard on this occasion to push him through. Araldson is kind of forming an alliance with them at the moment as well. But Hagman's time at the front is certainly up right now. I'm surprised he held on for that long, in all honesty. But Blixer's now tired of following him, so he's gone to the front.
Yeah, it shows you really what I said earlier. It is just so difficult to pass here at Pocono, especially if you get a good run out of turn 1. It's basically non-existent, that passing opportunity for another lap. And you can see now that Marcus Hagman is kept to the inside, he's really losing all of these positions. Now he's going to even get dropped outside of the top 10 right here. And now also comes Fournier past him, who is sitting in 12th place.
Oh. Araldson very deep up the track there into the corner. You'd say, goodness me, you'd say outbraking himself on a road course there. He was so far out, but obviously not quite the same. It's not quite the same suspect as Kevin Adam gets to the front now. 4th place for him. going for the dive on Gunnarsson. These two have been inseparable over the last 10 laps, and not in a good way on occasion as well. Bit of a slide from Adam there through turn 2, but he slots back into line again as there might be a pass for the lead here between the two teammates. Eric Blick swinging wide for Andre Solander, who's going to lead his first laps of the day. That's very important, of course, Stefan, because that means 5 more points to Andre Solander in the championship.
Yeah, indeed. So now also Eric Blix is going to get himself a little bit of a push. There we go. Solander getting the shove up ahead and in behind. Kevin Adams makes a mistake. He comes together once again with the 33. My goodness.
Those two have been doing that all race long so far, especially in this second phase of the race after the restart. But now they've been split up by Linus Broström, who's back in the top 5 again for the first time in a couple of laps. Looks like Kevin Adam wide again, and Allard now dives to his inside. We've been watching Kevin Adam worst constantly through these first 22 laps because wherever he is, there seems to be some form of entertainment going on, and at least some kind of side-by-side battling going on. So he's been in the wars so far, I think it's fair to say. A good run off of turn 3 though on the outside line, and he's going to hold on to 6th place. Uvenen's going to try and take advantage from Allard's slightly slow exit, but might not be able to with no help on the inside line there. He's holding it well and sticking it down the inside as Arulton also gets down the inside of Eric Blick for 2nd place. So good driving from him as well. Arulton is having a very patient race so far. He's not been going all guns blazing, but he's slowly made his way to the front.
Yeah, Alexander Allison doing a very great job, and there we go, and now goes to the inside of the 140. Oh, that pushes him wide as well with a late turn in for the 24. Andre Solander, there we go, most definitely not happy about that.
And now it all stacks up wildly, diving into the corner, Blicked, and Arrington's into the outside wall. They all carry on and we stay green, but goodness me, Eric Blick sent it into turn 3 there, and it's not turned out well for Arrington. Gunnarsson's going to lead his first lap of the day because of a complete mix-up there, with 3 wide in the background. Blick is surrounded by teammates, but not where he wanted to be at all. That was a very strange moment from the championship leader.
That nearly looked a little bit like payback there on Allison there.
Gone straight to the back by the looks of things of this group, even behind Marcus Hagman, who's struggling to hold on to the back of the group, but that's not good news for Arrington, who need a caution really to get back involved here. Just look at this now. Uvenen swings wide slightly into the path of Kapal, that might be actually, and they all lose a bit of time. The guys on the inside form up very nicely with Blicht and Solander, Solo. They're all there at the moment, trying to work their way up towards the front together. But that little moment 1 lap ago has really thrown the cat amongst the pigeons, and all of a sudden there's cars absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, it just continues like that. These guys are way too aggressive right now for what they should be doing. They should be calming down. They should be just having a strategic race right now, because the tires are so extremely limited, and the more they fight, the more they're gonna hurt themselves at the end of these stints. So really not the smartest things to be doing right now, because obviously all of this brings Marcus Hagman more and more into the picture, because with his war tires he's still able to keep up with the guys up ahead. And that means obviously, since he only did take 2 tires in the first pit stop round, he is more and more better situated with his leftover tires.
It's all starting to single file itself out for the moment. The last period of craziness has been met with a little bit of a calmer period, and I think a lot of these guys are going to be thankful for that. But Broström wants to kind of disrupt that at the moment, try diving deep into turn 1 in front of Kevin Adam. The two make slight bit of contact, but they managed to get through it at least, with Uvenen and also Eric Blicht, that was, going side by side. Allard is going to make his way through, and Uvenen as well, who'll be wishing he didn't do that, because he's gone down to 4th now, slots out in front of Solander, and is able to get back into the train. Kevin Adam again, good run off of the tunnel turn and into turn 3. He goes now. Looks like he might be able to make this work on the inside line. So we're just over a quarter of the way through this race now, approaching 1/3 distance, and it's been crazy racing action so far. I'll be very interested to see if this green flag run goes long, though. What's going to happen here with regards to green flag pit stops? Is this going to really spread out as a race, or is it going to remain like this until lap 95? Because if it does, then we're in for a treat, really.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this all stays like this. Obviously, with Pocono having such long straights, it's also not beneficial to stay out in front, because the guys behind could technically, if they would want to, save fuel, but they most definitely don't want to save that fuel whatsoever, because they keep continuing to fight, not only for first, but for every single position right now inside the top 8 positions.
Kevin Adam and Linus Broster have both made their way through on Gunnarsson, but can't stop fighting between themselves. Salander goes down the inside of Uman and there, and Allard actually through turn 3 and made sure that he's not going to write a reply on the outside line there, but unfortunately for Salander, by the looks of things, he's been tucked up on the inside, and Uman now has got that joy being on the inside line on his own, so he drops all the way down to 9th position, I'm afraid, for Tony Uman. They all stuck up through turn 1, trying to find their own piece of road, really, but not able to just for the moment. It's a little bit calmer out front, but Uman certainly in the wars at the moment for the man who started 12th place, or started the day 12th place in the championship. A very strong opening round, I must admit. A very strong most recent round at Las Vegas, but other than that, it's not been a dream season for Tony Uman, I'm afraid. At least his first top 10 was clinched last time out, though, which is a positive, certainly. We go through turn 3 once again, single filing itself out again, but I'm not entirely sure how long we're going to have to wait for green flag pit stops here, because we've been nearly 20 laps at this point. I'm expecting them to go quite a lot longer than that, but I'm not entirely sure quite when the ideal time for these guys to be pitting will be.
Yeah, you know that this race is much more tire limited than fuel limited, so they probably are driving more towards a tire number than a fuel number in reality. By the way, I don't know if any of our viewers are also getting that feeling through the first 30 laps of this race, but it really does seem like these guys have some really bad blood out for each other, at least this weekend, because the aggressive moves that have been done by pretty much every single driver throughout this field, be it an aggressive cut to the inside, being it a shove pass, a block pass, or just slotting very aggressively back in line just in front of the nose of a competitor. Yeah, these are moves that a normal situated driver wouldn't really do right now.
No, it's certainly aggressive driving from everybody at the moment, but to be honest, I'm not at all too surprised by that fact. It's just the way it is. Oh no, that's too aggressive, and there's gonna be, wow, they've all held on to it. That was very, very close to being a big moment for Gunnarsson and Uman, who got together, and somehow they're both pointing in the right direction. They've lost an awful lot of time, but at least their cars aren't too damaged by that one at all. That could have been a very, very big accident.
Yeah, I'm not sure what both of these drivers were thinking there, because the 84 was going towards the outside, 33 going towards the inside, and they both met at that point on track. So, yeah, just continues like that. Aggressive moves, needlessly aggressive moves right there. Why do you need to side draft so close to the other car? And why do you need to try to push that 84 more towards the inside there? Just it's starting to honestly be a little bit of brainless moves these guys are starting to do here.
Certainly this early on in the race, you would say that maybe exercising a bit more caution would be a good idea, and Ray and Kapal get together, and he's done a pretty good job of staying out the wall there, to be fair, because that could have gone very badly indeed. Solo manages to capitalise on that one, and looks like Robert Erling is going to do the same as well. But yeah, that just looked like a kind of innocent bit of contact between through turn 2, but making contact at any point through there is very dangerous, really. You easily find yourself in the wall.
Yeah. I'm honestly a little bit speechless by what all of these guys are continuing to show us right here. it just calls out right now for a big one here at Pocono, and then you would all of a sudden see Allison win it just because he's so far away from the pack right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very aggressive driving. If not, it was very deep into turn 2 for Allard there. But yeah, it's a very aggressive driving from everybody, and possibly too aggressive on occasion, as you mentioned. But these guys want to get up the order as quickly as possible, and they want to try and make hay while the sun shines, so to speak, while they're all close. So there we are. That probably explained a little bit. But single file a little bit. The field has split up ever so slightly. The top 6 are starting to form a bit of a train right now, but I'm not sure quite if this is dangerous for the rest of the field or not in terms of the rest of this race. You know, are these 6 going to run away to the finish? Well, it looks like Solo's going to be able to get himself onto the back. There's a group of 4 in behind as well, but are they going to be able to get involved? Because this is exactly what happened at Las Vegas. A group of 3 or 4 managed to separate themselves from the field, and they took it all the way to the line. They took it to the checkered flag, so you never know what might happen, but this is certainly a different situation this time at Pocono.
Yeah, it's going to be all about what Martin Kapal can do right here in 8th position, because Solo was still able to get back onto the train here for 1st place, but I think for Kapal and the 2 guys behind him, the train has left the station, especially Kapal, really slow right now, only a 55.4, so Erling and both Hagman are going to jump him right here down into turn 1, and the guys up ahead, Linus Broström did a 55.191, so the train for 8th place lost about 2/10 at a passing lap.
Side by side still between Fornire and Salander, who's stuck on the inside there, but tucks into line now with Solo just about there as well. Allard taking some very wide lines through turn 2. For some reason, it's going to get him in trouble at some point, I would imagine, because all of a sudden it's going to allow Kevin Adam to get very close. He's taking a very wide entry to 3 as well, but clearly that's the line that he's found to be most effective. You do get a good run off of the corners doing that, so maybe it is going to work out for him. So you see Fournier there trying to get involved. Is he able to really get alongside, though? Not quite. So I'm just having a look down to see Eric Lundberg, by the way, is still in the pit lane, and I'm afraid more than 10 laps down at this point, so he is out of the race. He's not going to be classified for this one, I'm afraid. Because he's not going to be able to complete more than 90% race distance here, but you can understand why the repairs are taking so long after just looking back to the crash here. It was a very, very big accident indeed.
Yeah, he was already out for a few laps. Lundberg was, but he actually was too slow to complete the minimum required speed per lap that you have to do if you are a damaged car. So that's why he ultimately had to retire anyway, just simply because he was too slow. It continues, by the way, to shape like this, as we have a pack of 7 cars up in front. The guys in behind, Robert Erling and Marcus Hagman, there we go. They are trying to get back to the back end of that field, but it seems like the top 7 most definitely have jumped onto the train and are heading out of station.
Yeah, absolutely. This is exactly what happened at Las Vegas, but it's a bigger group on this occasion, so we're less likely to see what we did see 2 weeks ago, where the 4 of them were just running in a line for the entirety of the race until it got to the last 10 laps or so, where it really kicked off. They wanted to put as much distance into those behind as possible, and it might not be a bad idea to do that again here this week, but let's wait and see on that one about... Oh, this is contact.
Oh!
Bit of contact. Fournier and Salander there. Salander was very sideways, and I'm impressed that he managed to hold on, but Solo had to slow up so much there. Look at the speed he's lost, and he might have, he might be detached from the back of this train for good now. That is a big opening gap now, and he might well be swallowed up by those behind in a few moments' time, because that is too big of a gap to close on his own.
Yeah, well, the good thing is for the guys behind that Daniel Solo is very fast, and so even if Daniel Solo, I think he would still be able to close this gap. He is not yet out of the draft of the 6 guys ahead of him, but the good thing is for Robert Ellingham behind that, now Daniel Solo is providing them draft, and they can close up to him, and then with him, most definitely, I'm sure of it, would be able to close the gap. Question is though, when are we seeing the first pit stops? Lap 37 will be completed right here, and I don't think many more circulations will be had on this fuel tank.
It doesn't look like it for the moment, but you never know how long they are going to go. We're nearly 30 laps into this stint now, so what does that mean for the rest of the race? Well, it means that we're going to have one more stop in this one, as Kevin Adam is going to the inside again. How many times have we said that so far this race? It keeps on happening. He needs to get clear of Allard really through turn 1 if he wants to go for it, because he's not really going to get help from those behind unless Fordyrace had a change of heart in the last few moments, and the answer to that is no. So Kevin Adams is going to be hung out to dry there, and they're going to steam past him on the outside line, or at least a couple of them are. Solander is just opening that gap a little bit, so he's not going to be able to slip by as well. Solo might well be able to get back to this train, you know. He's not doing a bad job at all. And what you mentioned earlier about him being a very fast car was not a joke at all. He's very, very quick. To be on his own, you know, chasing down a group of 6 like that, very impressive indeed.
Yeah, it's the line that Daniel Solo is running. He can run that one click higher than everybody else in that front group, and so he's able to keep the speed more up, save the tires as well, and it really helps him. Obviously, what also helps him is what the guys ahead are doing, because once again, Allard and Blixt side by side for second place, and it obviously slows everybody down ever slightly, and that means he can keep up his speed, keep up with the guys ahead, and he pretty much has close this gap. At this point, the way he's driving, he's not going to lose them, and that's another incident, and we still stay green, and that's Kevin Adam into the wall.
Kevin Adam getting into the wall there on the outside line, and he's dropped down to 7th place now. Solo getting in front of him. Let's have a look once again at what happened to it. He was pushing 40 Does he squeeze too? Oh, he squeezes too much there for me, definitely. He squeezes the car on the outside. I think it was Solander, maybe, who was on the inside. Maybe it was Eric Blicht, actually. Yes, it was. Eric Blicht, he was squeezing on the outside too much. He came up on him very much there, did Kevin Adam, and unfortunately got into the wall, and now he's going to drop back. That's going to give him some fairly hefty damage, I would say. That car's not going to be performing how it was.
No, that whole right side is scraped up for Kevin Adam. Obviously, his fault, just lost track of where the car on the outside is, lost track where he is just by simply targeting that car ahead and following it to the outside line. So that something like that can happen, especially if you don't have a real-life spotter that can tell you where exactly that car is in relation to yourself, plus how much of a gap you still have in between your two cars. With a real-life spotter, that wouldn't have happened, obviously, with the basic Eracing spotter that only tells you that there is still a car to your right side. Mistakes like that can very easily happen, and you kind of have to give kudos to the two drivers as well, because they kept brilliantly their car under control.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody staying at least facing the right direction after all of that, which means that we are able to stay green. As we're approaching 30 laps right now with just over 50 to go in this race. Coming up in the not too distant future on half distance, as Tony Uvernen is getting through here, and in this the fact that Kevin Adam is falling through this group at the moment is not helping them really in their charge to get back to the front, because every car has to pass him, and obviously he's going a bit slower, so he's kind of slumming up the group inadvertently.
Yeah, not only that, but Tony Uvernen completely is stuck right now side by side with him, as Kevin Adam gets a little bit squeezed by Uvernen. So the 84 most definitely worse for wear on the tires, and now there's a big shove coming as well from Kapal onto the 79. Not sure that's the most smartest move to do here in the case of the 64, because the 79 is most definitely hurting with the damage that he has, and you can already see that big gap that has been formed between Kevin Adam and Marcus Hagman up in 8th.
Daniel Solo has managed to get himself back into the top 6, who are now extending their margin over the rest of the field. Allard leading the train as well, Stefan.
Allard did a very good job on helping his teammate to get back up to the front. You can see the last 3 cars of that front group are teammate cars. So Allard did fall himself a little bit back, so that gap decreases between himself and the 13, give that 13 that additional boost of a better draft, and both of these cars went back to the front. So very great tactical driving by the 140.
Yeah, he did just drop off briefly there. I did notice the couple of car lengths opening, but he never did it to a point where he knew that he wouldn't be able to get back. He was erring on the side of making sure that he could stay there, obviously, because he wants a good result himself. But he did also do his best to get Solo into the group as well, which he has managed to do now. And if Eric Blixt heads to the inside of Fournier at some point to go for an overtake, you know, he is going to get help, because he's got 2 teammates behind him, and they're both not in a great position in the championship, but Blixt obviously is. So if indeed he does go for the inside, where normally he would be completely on his own with no help at all, the other 2 behind might be able to assist him just a little bit. As you see with Fournier right now, if this was a different situation with Blixt and Salander just behind, then Blixt wouldn't be getting help on the inside line. But fortunately for Fournier, he didn't really need it on that occasion, because Brostim just seemed to let him through.
Yeah, and now also Robert Elling and Marcus Hagman have caught the front pack here, so that's very great news for these guys, as Rickard Allard, look at that, all the way to the inside, dotted a line. So he most definitely is getting great drive right now. Obviously Fournier and Brostrom, they did go side by side through turn 1, and that opened this very big gap that Allard right now has over the rest of the field. But I would be too surprised if they immediately catch him once again, just because of the draft is so much more beneficial if you are a multiple car train.
Yeah, absolutely. So we now have 8 for the lead, and I'm a little bit surprised / impressed really with Marcus Hagman on 2 tyres there. He's been able to catch up to this group with the assistance of Robert Erling. They managed to get back to and I didn't think they were going to do it, especially with Hagman in the tyre situation he is, but that clearly shows he's got a lot of pace, and maybe the 2-tyre strategy is going to be a viable one for someone if there's a late caution.
Well, the thing is with the 2-tire strategy, obviously you have that beneficial grip because your tires are going to heat up faster. But at one point you have that drop-off where the inside tire is just so much worse than the outside tire that you just don't have any grip anymore while turning. But the good thing is, because you have new right side tires and old left side tires, it is at one point going to even out, and the tire wear is actually slowing down to some degree. That means that the cars on the new tires, especially with how hard they were fighting, where Hagman wasn't needing to fight that hard, especially because he was out in front for so long and was able to run his own lines, the guys around him actually came towards him with that tire wear. And so we're right now at the point where the deficit in tire wear that Hagman is right now experiencing is so negligible that he is actually able to once again keep up with the guys ahead.
And now we're seeing a bit of a runaway leader at the front of the field in the 3:02. Rickard Allard has now got a 1-second lead, and that's pretty much the first time we've seen all day somebody with more than a 1-second lead out front. He's going to be leading a lot of laps at this point as well, which is going to be adding to his tally. Very hard to work out who's got the most laps at the moment, because pretty much everybody has led at some point, but who's been there the most I wouldn't be able to tell you just for the minute. But Allard is starting to really get a bit of speed here, and start to get his way out from this group, which is exactly where he wants to be, of course.
Yeah, can you spot the driver who didn't have to fight as much on new tires as everybody else? Yeah, it's that guy up in front. It is Rickard Allard. He really did stay in behind, save his tires for this here moment. And then not only that, but you also have in second place a car that is slightly damaged, so that also doesn't help the train for second place. And nobody really right now is wanting to overtake Fournier, which is a little bit surprising, knowing how Allard is just completely driving away from these guys right now. Last lap, 5/10 the different ones in lap time between Allard and Fournier, and that gap is just ever increasing.
It is at the moment. And I've got a feeling as well that Linus Broström is a bit of a cork in the bottle at the moment. You can see the way that Fornire is able to stay away from him, and Blitz is tucked right in behind the 71 at the moment. So yeah, that's a bit of a strange one to me, but either way, Hagman's down the inside of Solo right now, and Elling down the inside of Blicht all in one go here. But Solander's pushed out wide by Hagman. So the Force Esports cars are starting to form up, and this is really starting to get very interesting indeed, with two teams having 3 cars in this 8-driver selection, and they're going to be helping each other in any way that they can. Look at Broström slowing up the outside line to let his teammates in. This is really real cat and mouse to a degree that I've not seen in a very long time.
Yeah, and you really now can see that both Elling and Hagman were able to save their tires in that second pack, because just looking at how they were able to go through this pack basically like a warm knife through butter is really a very telling story. So wouldn't be surprised if soon they're now also going to just completely fly past Bertrand Fournier to get into second place and then try to challenge the speed of Rickard Allard, because right now they are not quite as fast as him, but that is obviously through traffic where he is able to go flat out without any issues.
It's strange to me what's happening to Linus Broström at the moment. It's even more strange that the Alcantech NHR guys are not even attempting to overtake right now. Blicht has not made a single move on that car, despite the fact that Broström is driving very slowly indeed.
Yes, as I said, this is just because of the tire wear. They were fighting so hard, so aggressively for so long that they have hurt their tire so much that they're basically right now not able to do anything, just because their tires would immediately scream for the life of them, because they would be too much worn out at this point. So they're just driving towards the numbers right now, waiting till their fuel tank runs out and then pit for new tires. But obviously until that point they will have lost already so much time to not only Hagman and Erling, but especially to Rickard Allard.
Yes, almost shocking to me how much the tyre wear is coming into play right now. Yes, very surprising to me, but maybe it shouldn't be, I don't know. Erling and Hagman have made their way through there, and that wasn't a big surprise really to see Fournier demoted there. Broström is now starting to get a little bit closer, but not too much. As we see also behind, Uven and Kevin Adam are involved. Even the damaged Kevin Adam is able to get through here. Now there's a man who you'd think would be heavy on the tyre wear at the moment, as we now see our first pit stops being made on lap 50. Just under 40 laps after the last stop, so we're not quite going to make this on one stop to the end. You wouldn't expect. Fournier, Adam and Uvenen all coming into the pit lane. You can be sure that that may affect everybody else into coming down pit lane as well.
Yeah, now it gets interesting. By the way, first lap out in clean air, Elling and Hagman 2 times faster than Rickard Allard, so they have most definitely done a very great stretch with sitting by themselves and then catching the pack in the last 9 laps of the stint. Rickard Allard is now noting that he is going to pit along with Marcus Hagman. That probably also means that Robert Elling going to pit in as well.
Let's see as we go through turn 3 again. Now, Broström stays out, and so do the Alcantech NHR guys, but Erling and also Hagman are in, as well as the race leader, Rickard Allard, and yeah, we're going to see where these guys come out really. Gunnarsson is not jumped up wildly, by the way. He's just not made a pit stop yet, and that's how far he is off the back of the field after his little incident we had. I think it was on the back straight where he came into contact with, I'm testing myself here, I can't quite remember, but it definitely came into contact with somebody, and there was a big problem. Aronson has also dropped a lot of time as well after the damage he picked up during his incident at turn 3 with Eric Blicht, who doesn't seem to be damaged by it at all, in all honesty. But yeah, there we are. It's certainly changed the race for Aronson as we go through turn 3 again. The front 4 come through together, but Daniel Solo carries on completely on his own for one more lap, it seems. So interesting different strategies going on, but these guys will all have to come down pit lane again surely before the end of this race.
Yeah, they are all doomed for another splash and dash at the end of the race, and obviously the question will be how much of a splash and dash will that be, and second of all, will they be able to do tires at that point as well, because of I'm expecting it only would be a splash and dash for 4, 5 or so laps.
It's a bit of a problem for net race leader Allard there, but he's phased himself back into existence, fortunately. You can see the guys in the background there with Erling, Hagman, Fornire and Adam all in a train. Uvenen is nearly there as well. As you can see, the leaders, or some of the others on the left-hand side, Blicht, Broström and Salander coming out of the pit lane, but I'm afraid they've not been formed up very well. They've not been going that quickly, and so they've been jumped wildly by these 4 cars here who've been driving very quickly as soon as they came out of the pit lane. They've done the undercut very effectively there, and they're even behind Uvenen, Blix, Broström and Salander, so they've lost out big time in this pit stop cycle.
Yeah, that is just the difference even one lap makes on new versus old tires, so expect Daniel Solo to even be much further behind these guys. So very, very unfortunate either way. And by the way, Erling was able to catch about a full second up to Allard just because of his in and out laps. So very, very interesting development how they're able to keep up their speed right now, at least in the compared to first place.
Now the inside for Hagman there gets through on Robert Erling, who has to swing wide for his teammate, but is not doesn't have too many reservations about doing so. So Gunnarsson does lead, but Allard is going to be taking that over before long, and yeah, he does so into turn 2. And makes his way into the lead, but it seems that these 4 driving very well at the moment might well be able to catch them, although that was a mistake for Robert Erling through turn 2, and Fornire is going to get down the inside of him now into 3. Is he going to pull it off though? Is the big question. Hagman finally with new tyres, that must feel incredible for him, because those left side tyres have been on since the very start of this race, very, very old tyres at this point, and he must be enjoying the new tyres and enjoying the bit of gap that's been created by this battle between Fornire and Erling.
Yeah, once again, the 6 in this case nearly coming together with the 82 just because of having to side draft so tightly to the 82. So once again we see a little bit of the stupid moves, but the good thing is this race has most definitely calmed down by quite a bit, especially because we now have such a stretched field. By the way, the last car in this shot, that is Daniel Solo, so you really can see how much he did lose just because of his very late pit stop.
Yeah, he stayed out for 1 lap longer than the people he was with before, and he's come out a second behind them. So that's very damaging for him, really, and he'll be struggling to get back onto the back of the train. So we're 40 laps away from the end here at Pocono. It's round 5 of the European E-Racing League here for 2021. We're going to take a quick commercial break over the next couple of moments, and when we return, the race for the checkered flag will be certainly upon us. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to RaceBot TV's coverage of round 5 of the European E-Racing League in 2021 here at Pocono, where we've got just over 35 laps remaining in the race. We've got 2 for the lead at the moment as well. Rickard Allard and also Marcus Hagman are going at it at the front of the field, but further down it's very, very exciting battling as well. It's all starting to form up once again. Just before the break we saw that the field was stretching out quite wildly actually, but it's all closing back up once more here in this race. Daniel Solo is back onto the back of everybody and he's only 5 seconds away from the leader, so it's certainly getting very interesting indeed right now, and it includes Gunnarsson, who is involved in 4th position at the moment. My name's Ewan O'Leary, I'm commentating alongside Stefan Saka for this race here today for RaceBot TV, and yeah, we've not got long to go here, Stefan. Now it's all starting to form up again, it's all closing up again. We said it was stretched out before the break, but it's all elastic banded back together again.
Yeah, that is a little bit because of the few things we have seen, the few issues we have seen from drivers sprinkled throughout the few laps since the pit stop, so not 100% surprising. Also, these guys are still somewhat in the draft of each other, so that also helped them. Obviously now Andre Selander and Fournier are basically out of the draft of the 2 guys ahead of them, but one of them is Gunnarsson, so that is not going to be too much of an issue, because obviously with the slow car of Gunnarsson, that helps Sander to stay in that draft and maybe even jump up to Linus Bostrom.
Yeah, let's see if it's going to remain these 2 for the lead for a long time or not, really. Just 1.5 seconds right now. I've got to be honest, I was surprised Hagman just drove away from Erling and up to the front. I thought he would bring his teammate with him, intentionally or not. I just thought they would come together with the pace, but Hagman has been very strong. It's just a case of whether these guys have got out too hard. Has Hagman got out too hard on these tyres? I mean, if anybody can manage tyres through a race, then it seems to be him, because of what he did with his left side tyres over the first 50 laps. But we saw so many people dropping off late on last time out. I'm certainly fearing for him that he's overestimated the ability of those tyres throughout this stint.
Or maybe Rickard Allard is just doing what he was doing in the first stint, just sitting back, relapsing a little bit, driving higher lines, just so he has better tyres for the end of his stint. Obviously that would also benefit them then later on in the end of the race, because remember, these guys will have such a short pit stop that I don't expect anyone to try to at least take 2 tyres. So if they're saving tyres right now, that's gonna benefit them at the very end of this race, because they'll have better tyres after their last splash dash.
Put out the inside for Uven, and they're on one of the cars, Gunnarsson, who's trying to sort of stay out of the way of everybody, but also not do that, because he is on a bit of a different strategy. And look at what it's done to the field. Uven was on the very inside and diving through the middle there. Bertrand Fournier doing a fantastic job through the middle there, and he gets into 7th place as Marcus Hagman goes to the lead. As you mentioned earlier, Rickard Allard decides to go for that high line to preserve the tyres a little bit more. He's done exactly that. It looks like he's just handing the lead over to Hagman, but he doesn't seem all too fazed by the fact that he's not in P1 anymore.
Yeah, so talking about them having ended with the bad and stupid moves, there we have an example once again of making bad and stupid moves, because Fournier tried to go 3 wide there with the left car to the outside. What did it give him? Well, basically nothing, except for slow everybody down the line and lose the draft even more of the guys ahead. So most definitely these guys driving very short-sighted right now, not thinking about the bigger picture, but you never know, maybe that is right now what they need to do. We still have, what is that, 33 laps to go, so it is still technically a long way out.
Yeah, it is really, just still over 2/3 distance to go, or round about there now. So yeah, there's plenty of time remaining in this race. As things stand, Gunnarsson has managed to get himself. He's just made a very early pit stop in the last few moments. About 20 laps ago he came in for the first time, so he's effectively split in the second phase of this race. So from the caution onwards in this race, he split it into 3 parts, equal parts. So he pitted early to try and spread his speed over the stint, but He's got old tyres on at the moment, and he's dropping through the field, so I don't know if it was the best idea. As Kevin Adam just kisses the wall back there as well. He's been in the wall today, and his car looks pretty banged up because of it. I've got to be honest, he's not looking pristine anymore, that black and yellow car at the moment, but he's still getting through this race and still being as aggressive as ever. But yeah, for me, Gunnarsson doesn't look like that's going to really come off for him, the splitting the strategy, because you're going to spend too much time on your own, really.
I mean, Gunnarsson anyway is heavily damaged, so it doesn't really matter too much for the 33. He's just out there to get more experience. And by the way, 79, I'm still not sure what that driver is thinking about, because out of turn 2 has a little bit of a slide, yes, and then just sort of aggressively moves back in the draft of the 2 guys ahead, and because of that completely messes up his lane switch and thus hit the wall on the outside. So Kevin Adam, yeah, a little bit probably distracted right now by all the cars that are around him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very busy for everybody, really. So we've got 2 for the lead still, Hagman and Allard. Then we've got Erling Broström for second at the moment, and then we've got these guys who are fourth on back, Solander and Blicht, trying to push themselves back up towards the front. Uven is trying to catch that train, and so's Forderay, but then increasing distances behind as you go down the list there. You can see that is the visual. Blicht is doing his best, though, to get his teammate up towards the front, but this is turning into a fantastic day for Marcus Hagman, who's led quite a few laps, and he's only 24 points behind Blicht coming into today. And if he were to be able to take a victory, then he would indeed take the championship lead at the moment by quite a way in front of Eric Blicht, who would end up losing 43 points to him. So this championship taking another turn. I know we've got the drop week to figure out, but Hagman has got his rivals at arm's length in this race by the looks of things.
Yeah, I mean, it still is. I think that's the teammate of Blixt just ahead of him, if I see this correctly, it is. So I'm not sure if there would be some sort of team strategy involved if Solander would let him by on the last lap if Blixt is just behind him, to not make him lose too many positions or too many points here. Has to be waited and see what these guys do decide, as also Broström just went past Robert Erling. Did look a little bit like a move that was yeah, on the realms of Multi-21.
Yes, quite possibly, but fortunately with a little bit less drama. Let's hope so anyway. But there we are. It's just helpful to have teammates in this race for these guys. The likes of Blicht and also Broström has got a lot of teammates, Hagman as well, but they are on the same team, so that could get awkward if it's not managed. Leitner kind of on his own, really. He's got a teammate or 2 around, but in the championship, but would be struggling for them. Leitner not here today, by the way, in case you're wondering. 4th place in the championship, very much in contention as well. I guess not all over for him, Stefan, given the fact he's going to be a DNF and a DNS, I guess, as well as 0 points on the day, so I guess it's not all over for him, but having a drop week as a 0 I think is still not great compared to some other drivers who are going to be taking off hefty amounts of points really, because they've been having good seasons.
Well, it depends. Obviously, if the rest of the season is a great one yourself, then that 0 point doesn't really matter, unless it is the reason why the championship does get decided. But yeah, either way, I think if you're having to miss a race like this, you've got to have a very good reasoning, and I'm very sure that Leitner has just that.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubts about that one. So we continue to watch this battle for what is 5th position. Solander, Blicht and Uven, who are a bit closer than they were before, but they're not really making any headway. 4.5 seconds behind the leaders, but none of these gaps are really changing, I would argue, at the moment. Everyone's single file. This is finally 65 laps into this race, you know, over 2/3 in. We finally got to a point where people are happy to work with each other in terms of in their groups, to try and get to where they want to be, other than if you're Solo and Forderay, who are going side by side at the moment. But most of these guys, single file, are finally working together. We saw 90% of the race at Las Vegas, people working together to try and get to where they wanted to be. But here it's been pure pack racing for the almost entirety of it. And now finally, as we're getting towards the end, people are working together. And it means that with every passing lap, Hagman and Allard look like they're going to be fighting it out between themselves.
Yeah, I mean, the big question is, how far are they away from making it actually to the finish without needing another stop? Because obviously if Allard right now sitting behind, able to save fuel and tires behind Hagman, would that make him be able to go the full distance without needing that extra stop? Also, question is, how does it fare with the amount of fuel that you need to take on if you can't make it? How much is that? How much of a difference can you make by fuel saving here? So big questions that are still lingering above everybody's head.
Now then, Allard tries to go to the lead again. Hagman on the outside line doesn't really put up too much of a fight there, but Allard finally looks like he's going for it here. In this race, and yeah, he's been conserving a fair amount during it, but now wants to take back the lead once again. There could be a little bit of playing for the most laps led here, because that would give you 5 points, but Allard, considering it's his first race in the championship, I don't think it's going to matter I think it's his first race in the championship anyway. I don't think it's going to matter too much in the end, so I will be surprised about that one, but Hagman will want the extra 5 points. He's in an important battle, so he will want every point he can get. 1.5 seconds now between Broström and Hagman, though, and that is a considerably smaller gap. Not entirely sure if that's a product of the pass that we just saw. I can't imagine he would have lost that much time from it, so clearly Broström is getting a little bit closer to those leaders. They did just pass Aronsson, though, so I wonder if that played any effect into it. Either way, the gap is now a little bit smaller than it was before, and the leading group may double in size if the leading pair aren't careful.
Yeah, not entirely sure what kind of strategy these guys are on right now. Broström is about 6/10 per lap faster, 5 to 6/10 that is, than the two guys up ahead, so Broström was definitely not saving fuel. The question though is, what are the guys ahead doing? Are they saving fuel? Is it that why they're so slow, or did they already hurt their tires a little bit too much, and Broström just able to extract right now so much more out of his tires? Not entirely sure. Last lap 55.2, so he slowed down by 3/10 himself, and the two guys up ahead were this last circulation actually 2/10 faster than him, with Allard putting in a 55.0. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure right now what the thing is with Broström. He is sort of catching a 5-lap average, but also currently at least not really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very interesting situation at the moment. It could change very quickly as well if certain things manage to take place. So it's kind of a nervous moment for everybody. But I guess the next thing to kind of mention is the fuel situation. 20 laps done on this stint now, or this is lap 20, coming up to the end of it now for everybody. At lap 21, yeah, we're on lap 21 of this stint for Allard and Hagman, most notably. Now, 23 laps to go. It's 44 laps. A little bit of a stretch too far. They did roughly 40, some did just over 40 laps in this last run. Some of the guys have been slipstreaming off of others and will be saving fuel that way, although they may have been before, so we can't be entirely sure, but I feel like surely somebody is at least going to attempt to make it to the end here on fuel.
Well, the thing is, with the caution lap that everybody did, they did do 40 laps. Pretty much flat on the belly, 40 laps. But that is obviously also with a caution lap. So I'm expecting more like 38, 37 on this run, because we have had a green flag run throughout right now. So that would put them about 8 laps short of the pit delta that they would need to hit to make it to the end without that extra splash and dash. So currently very sure of it, nobody would be able to make it just on this single stint of fuel right now.
No, it doesn't appear to be the case. I did forget about that caution lap actually. That will help them out a fair deal, but would that situation not explain the fact that a couple of cars came in a lap later than everybody else. We saw the pit lap as we normally do, then we go past the pit lane one more time, and then we go green. We saw a couple of cars coming in straight away. Were they really topping off, and does that maybe show intent from a couple of the guys, to want to make this on only one more stop from that point?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised that nobody tried to gain a little bit on the pit road with actually underfueling their car, driving a shorter stint and then drive out again, because that obviously also enables you to take tires on that last pit stop that you inevitably need to do. A little bit surprised that nobody of these guys thought about that kind of strategy, because it most definitely is a viable strategy, because we have seen by how much these drivers do fall off on tire wear. So at least on that kind of note, everybody is on the same strategy, give or take 1 or 2 laps, because drivers were able to fuel save behind each other. Not gonna be this much of a difference in this stint, just simply because we're so much more string out, and there's at max a 3-car pack up and down the field.
Yes, not many drivers together anymore. As Andre Salander very wide through there. Going to get a good run off the corner, but he's going to slow up the grip a little bit as Allard is now into the pit lane. Aronson is the driver involved here, by the way, 1 lap down, but that is very interesting. Rickard Allard has made his way in with 20 laps to go. Surely he runs the risk of finding himself on his own and losing pace, but what are these new tyres going to do for him is the big question. If this plays out to an extreme effect, then Hagman could lose the slipstream here if he's not careful. So he's got a very big decision coming up here. Does he follow the lead of Allard and make sure that he stays with him all race, or does he stick to his guns and stay out there?
At least somebody is playing the strategy game, so Rickard Allard, the first car to be good to the very end of this race. That means he's the only relevant car that is good to the end. We have 2 cars that are laps down that also can already make it to the end. So, question is, what will the others do? Hagman, probably at this point, we'll be looking at the times that Rickard Allard is able to do, because if he stays out for too long at this point, he is not going to be able to anymore take tires and gain something from that. So Rickard Allard, the faster he goes right now, the more pressure he puts on everybody else, but also the more tires he uses himself.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation right now for them. For everybody, I feel like everybody's just walking a tightrope here to try and work out what's the best way to go about all this, really. Broström is bringing that gap for the lead coming down, though. Himself, and they're all teammates, by the way. Falls Esports 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Hagman, Broström and Erling. But that is a bit... Oh, he's into the barriers there. Just a little bit. Daniel Solo. Not the first time we've seen people into the outside wall today, and won't be the last either, I suspect. Let's have a look. Fournier has made a very long pit stop there, I'm afraid. 30 seconds long for him. I thought he was trying something, but maybe not with such a long pit stop. And Kevin Adam also comes into the pit lane, rolling the dice a little bit. But I feel at this point, pitting at any time is just going to be a strange. There doesn't seem to be one singular right way to do this. There might just be quite a few good ways to do it, rather than one singular right way.
Feeling a little bit that Fournier did overshoot the pit entry, and that's why he had to make such a long pit stop, because it was extremely long, to be very fair, because he did lose a full lap to everybody around him. By the way, speaking about losing a full lap, where is Allard right now? So Allard is just about a third of the track ahead of Hagman. So he is still out there. So 55.7 the last lap for Hagman, with Allard at 54.2. So he's gaining 1.5 seconds right now on your current leader.
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation. Keep an eye on that gap, as you can see, to the leader, because it's very important indeed. But he's also got to be careful of his tyres here, Allard. It's a very difficult situation for him to be in, because he can't really gauge his pace off of anybody else. There's nobody around him right now. But he's got to make pace right now. He's got to stay with Hagman. And and he's also got to preserve his tyres all at the same time. So there's a lot of different things going on here, but looking at that gap now, it was 36 seconds at the start of that sentence, it's now nearly down to 35 just in the space of the last 40 seconds. So it's certainly going his way, but he's got to be careful not to go out too hard here. Then again, he's only going to be on the tyres for 20 laps, so he can lose a little bit of that caution that he's had so far during this race.
The last lap, 7/10, was in between Allard and Hagman, but that still is that first lap of Allard. The really fast one is going to be this lap, as this is his second circulation around the Pocono Tricky Triangle. So what is Allard able to do on his second lap? Fastest lap right now by him at 53.814. Question is, can he improve on that? The answer is no, it's a 54.1, so a tenth slower than his first lap out onto the racetrack, and a lot of people are going to go into pit lane. Most importantly, Marcus Hagman.
It does indeed. Very important moment coming up here as Tony Uvinen also comes in as well. All of the Force Esports guys are actually into the pit lane here at the same time. So Hagman leads them on. Broström is next, and then Robert Erling is after that. You see Solander now takes the lead with Blicht and Solo, who are kind of all on the same team, and they're all working together as things stand. Here is the man of the moment, though, Rickard Allard, making his first appearance in the European E-Racing League here in 2021.
Oh, Broström missed his pit box.
Yeah, I saw reversing from somebody. It looked like the 71 of Broström. That's good. That could be really hurtful for the whole group. Now, you can see in the background, Hagman goes. Also, Erling goes, but where's Broström? He might, well, not be very close to them. Let's see where they are. Allard's got a big lead here, though. Goodness me, this is 5 seconds or more as the guys behind leave the pit lane as well. 5-6 seconds the lead for the 3:02. This is looking fantastic with 15 minutes to go. 15 laps to go here in this race. He's got a big lead. Can they chase him down? I'm not sure if there's going to be enough laps for them to do that, even working together.
Fastest lap of Marcus Hagman, personal fastest lap by the way, was on lap 16 at 53.784. So it's going to be all about, can he once again do that kind of lap? Obviously that was also with the drive, but with the cooler track temperatures we have right now, it isn't that impossible to once again do those kind of lap times. And to be perfectly honest with you, Rickard Allard, he's not that fast right now. 54.347 last circulation. So Hagman has the chance to catch him because the gap isn't that big, and there's still a lot of laps left.
13 as they cross the line here. So it's not over in the front of this race, not over at all. But what about these guys? Solander, Blicht and Solo. Alcantech and HR working together here. There's the two teams, the two major teams at the front of this championship and the front of this race. Alcantech and HR by Diamond Racing and Force Esports, along with Force Esports Academy, kind of joining forces, but you can count them as one team, I guess, on the road. They've gone for two different ways of going about this. Now, these guys out front, I mean, what even is the reason for this three to be out front at this stage? Because they're going to be on older tyres, they're going to be losing time. In that respect, are they just going for a very, very short splash and dash at the end and hoping that their short pit stop is going to hold them out? Are they even going to the end here?
They are hoping on a caution. That's most definitely the case right here. And by the way, Hagman right out the gate a tenth faster than Allard, but it only was a 43.80 for Hagman. So not as fast of a start as Allard was able to show us, but the question is also, Allard with his very fast first 2 laps out the gate, did he hurt his tires too much, and is he going to hurt at the end of the race?
We've got 11 laps to find out at the line. But it's a very, very close race at the moment. A very interesting race that we've seen. We haven't seen many cautions from that first one, or we haven't seen any, excuse me, from that first one that we had about 10 laps in. Eric Lundberg going for a spectacular accident off of turn 4, not turn 3, excuse me. There's no turn 4 around here. But yeah, spectacular incident as he was rolling over and over again down the front straight, brought out the first and so far only caution, but if one comes out right now, these guys will be absolutely laughing as they pull up in a strange way here now. Solo goes to the second position. Now, you don't think that here's a very hypothetical situation, and I could be, dreaming wildly with this one, Stefan, so do bring me back down to earth if I need to be. Blitz is being put in behind both of those guys. He's going to get a very good drafting effect from it. Sure, those two are kind of driving themselves into the floor by trying to help him out here. Are they driving in front of him, giving him the slipstream so that Blick can save the fuel and maybe go to the end here? Or,
No.
Is this... do I need to be brought down to earth a little bit on that one?
Yeah, quite heavily, because he is about 8 laps short on fuel either way, so you're not going to be able to save that amount of fuel right now. So these guys I expect to come into pit lane in 3-4 laps. That obviously brings down the amount of fuel that they need, but they're so far out there that they're basically right now betting on that caution to come out so that they don't need to have that extra pit stop. But at the same time, they're not going to be able to then take that pit stop because they would be dropped so far in behind everybody else, and with the short amount of time that we then would still have left, they wouldn't be able to get back to the front. So they're right now banking on that caution. They need a very quick, very dirty caution as well that comes right at the end, just before they pit in. I would have to pit in, and yeah, from there. But even right there with that caution, I'm not sure they still would have enough of fuel left in their tank so that they can stay out and win the race just because they were able to save that one pit stop.
Do you not think though that the new tyres would help them on the restart with the surely that?
Yeah, well, the thing is, since they are the leading cars, if they would go into pit lane to take those tires, everybody in behind would do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. So if a caution were to come out at exactly the right moment, then it could play into their favour. But obviously they need luck to be on their side for that to take place. 8 laps to go at the line, and that would extend the stints here for these guys to 41-42 laps, which is, we believe, too far at the moment. But pit stops will be upon us soon. I thought Solando was taking a slow line on the inside line there, but he's just preparing himself throughout the corner, so he carries on again. But further behind, Allard is being caught here, just over 3 seconds now between the two of them. Hagman, Broström and Erling have formed up nicely, and they are closing on that 3:02, and here they are once again. Goodness me, this race, whichever way it goes down, whether there's going to be a caution and a late race scrap between everybody, or there's going to be one between Allard and the whole Force Esports team, then there's going to be, a very, very exciting finale, whichever of those two situations actually happens here.
Yeah, and Rickard Allard is also starting to get reeled in by Hagman here, as the last lap was 6/10 slower by Allard versus Hagman and the pack in behind him. So we might see a late charge for the lead between Allard and Hagman. Yes, I'm counting on these guys to fight it out for the win, because I don't see the top 3 making it to the end without that pit stop.
6 laps to go at the line for them. Well, lap 89 of 95 in what has been a very, very intriguing race here at Pocono. Still 3 rounds to go after this one. Talladega coming up, and what a strange race that is going to be, because it's always a bit of a lottery who wins there. You want to have a good result here at Pocono to kind of get yourself on the front forward going, on the front foot going forward into a race that is so unpredictable. In terms of a championship, I think this race is very, very important indeed, and it's hard to work out which championship contenders are really having the best at the moment, because Hagman and Broström, if they finish here, they're not going to be very pleased, and Eric Blichter, though, if he finishes up there, is going to be very pleased. So, it's a very difficult situation, but I think a very important one for everybody to have a good Pocono round, because you want to be in a good mindset heading into Talladega, which can be so unpredictable, excuse me. But we've still got 5.5 laps for this all to change once again. Allard, Solo and Blick leading by over 20 seconds at the moment, but don't be fooled by that, because we believe they're going to be coming down pit lane again. Let's wait and see, though. The bigger battle, I guess, here, Stefan, is Allard being caught by these three, but they're not going to have long left when they get there, if they get there.
Well, they're continuing to be a tenth of a lap faster right now, and as you can see, that gap really isn't that big anymore for these guys, so I'm very sure that in at the maximum 3 laps, they will have him caught.
Here they are. All of the Alcantech by NHR drivers, Alcantech NHR by Nyman Racing, and the variants within. Coming on to pit lane now, Solo, Salander and Blicht with the last 5 laps. Unfortunately, the caution has not come for them at the right time, and so they have had to pit, and it looks like it's going to end up being fairly disappointing for them, because they may well, they're certainly going to end up behind all of these guys in 5th on back, but how far back are they going to go? Is Uvenen going to grab them? What about Kevin Adam Gunnarsson, maybe, who's had a very strange day, but after all, it's going to be a very short stop, not quite a normal length, so they are going to leave the pit lane. Uvenen is going to be here, though, may well battle it out with them, but Solo, Salander and Blick looked like they're destined for 4th place, or at best, sorry, 5th place at best, and I would imagine that they're going to give that to Eric Blick. Since they're all teammates, he's the one involved in the championship, they're probably going to give him 5th place, but it might not matter him, but Hagman and Broster might both get them if they both get 1 and 2 here. I haven't done the maths on that just yet, but they're certainly going to be taking a step forward in this championship.
Yeah, just look at how much speed Hagman has over Allard. The grip still is with Marcus, and so there should be an easy pass into turn 171 is going to follow him as well. Linus Broström and Hagman to the inside for the lead over Allard. Allard, nothing to have against these guys.
Absolutely not. Down the inside with less than 4 laps to go at this stage. The 5 laps younger tyres have played into effect and played into the hands of Hagman and Broström. Allard got past so easily there, you get the feeling he's not going to be able to reply at any point here in this race, but maybe there's still a chance. If he could just hang on for a lap or 2 here, then he might be able to get involved once again, but for the moment it looks like Broström, after that mistake, is just opening that little bit of a gap to Hagman here. They go into turn 3 once again. Can Allard do anything here? He was passed so easily there that I get the feeling he's going to maybe get passed by Airlings first of all, but certainly not going to come at the front 2 again.
Yeah, if you want to call that a mistake, sure, I'm gonna have you that. But that was most definitely not a unplanned mistake by Linus Broström. Let's call it like that. Rickard Allard has lost a little bit to 2 guys up ahead, and with Robert Elling coming into the picture now as well, the 82 not able to hold as much of a speed as the Broström and Hagman cars, but still does have enough in his tank to be able to attempt something with Allard and make him slow down even more and lose to 2 guys in front.
Yeah, Broström was playing a bit of a game there, to be fair, this time last lap through turn 2, and it nearly worked actually, but he's got back up to Hagman, and Allard is coming with them, so 2 laps to go here. This race is hanging in the balance. Now, teammates going on here, but Hagman and Broström are both in championship contention, both of them quite badly near the win, in terms of getting as many points between themselves and Eric Blicht, so I think this is going to be a real fight, despite the fact they're teammates. It's going to be a real fight on here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. How are these guys looking for the championship again? I think it was Hagman still has the
Hagman's just behind. Hagman's 14 points behind Broström, who's 10 points behind Blicht. So if they want to kind of do for the team to get both cars as close to the front as possible, then I guess they might let Hagman win, but I don't think they're really going to let anybody win at this stage. But although maybe Broström will, he's either waiting for the final lap here, or he's going to follow the leader right till the very end. Allard now is a couple of car lengths behind, and it doesn't look like he's going to get involved. Broström just swings slightly wider through turn 3 in the hopes of getting a good run off of the final turn. He might well have done that here. Hagman is going to be under pressure. Is this going to be a fight on the last lap here for the win here at Pocono, or are these guys going to stay behind one another? Here we go into turn 1. Broström didn't go for it at the best overtaking opportunity on the lap, so it's not looking likely that the 71 is going to take this. It may well be Hagman's day. He might well get the 5 points for leading the most laps as well, in which case if it finishes like this, Hagman would move 1 point in front of his teammate Broström, discounting the most laps third point, and I think they were both overhaul Eric Blicht in this race. We'll wait and check that one in a few moments time. But coming through turn 2 for the final time, Marcus Hagman is leading the field here once again. He won back at Phoenix, and I think for the first time all season long we're going to have a repeat winner through the final turn here at Pocono. And after a very strategic race indeed, it's Marcus Hagman who's going to take the checkered flag first. Linus Broström comes home second, and Rickard Allard, after a valiant effort, comes home fourth on his debut. Robert Erling fourth, Allard was third, and Eric Blicht manages to just hold on to the fifth with the help of his teammate Solo holding off Uvenen so that Blicht could take the maximum amount of points possible. But Force Esports there with a 1-2 and a championship lead now, I think, to boot. A very calculated drive from them indeed, Stefan.
Yeah, this is why I love Pocono. You have to drive calculated to be fast here. And that's exactly what the guys for Force Esports did there. Marcus Hagman, he weighted his numbers. He saw Rickard Allard pit and said, too early. And that's exactly what happened. What a drive back to the back of Rickard Allard to take home this 1-2 for his team.
Absolutely, and indeed the championship lead for himself as well by at least 1 point. It's Hagman who takes the win ahead of Broström, and then Allard Erling was also in that front train of 4. Eric Blicht managed to head the train behind in 5th position. Solo was holding off Uvenen as a teammate. For 6th position there was Andre Solander on the back of that in 8th. Kevin Adam, after being in the wars all day, 9th position ahead of Jonas Gunnarsson. Here in 10th position, 24 seconds down on Marcus Hagman by the end. In 11th it was Bertrand Fourniret after that speeding penalty really set him back. Martin Capella, who had a quiet day. Alexander Ardilson, after getting into the wall through turn 3, was not really able to recover. And Eric Lundberg, 77 laps down after his huge accident, coming onto the front straight. All those laps ago, about lap 11 or 12. So that is it for this race here at Pocono. Very interesting one, if not side by side all the time throughout the second half of the race. It was intriguing, and a very deserving winner in Marcus Hagman, who now takes the championship lead ahead of his teammate Linus Broström. It's a fascinating championship as we head into the unpredictability of Talladega. I hope you will join us then in 2 weeks' time, but the show is not over here tonight. The Racebot TV part of it is, but we've got the post-race show from the ESEN studio coming up in a few moments' time, so make sure you stay on for that one. But I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Stefan Slacker here on the commentary today. Tyler Maxson has been on the cameras here, and from all of us at Racebot TV, it's goodbye for now and time to hand over to the post-race show.
So, thanks for a good commentating from RaceBot, and thanks all the drivers for a good race. That was highly enjoyable. And we're back for some interviews, and we'll start with our third place driver, Rickard Allard. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. That was your first race in the European E-Racing League, right?
Yeah, I actually planned on doing the last one, but I missed. I forgot about it, honestly.
Yeah.
But I finished third in the Monday race of the week, and then I had some incidents in the Thursday race where I didn't even manage to go over the start-finish line on the start. So I really enjoyed Pocono, so it was a blast. And I noticed that doing that early pit stop in the end got me quite some gap back to Marcus, Linus, and Robert.
Yeah, you did some great driving today, and a lot of laps in the lead.
Yeah.
But what happened?
Unfortunately, I mean, it's basically impossible to manage to have the gap all along, because I mean, 3 drivers in the same team working as a team, it's impossible alone. I mean, sooner or later they are going to catch you, and unfortunately they did. But it was an epic race and a really good. It's a pity that so few people showed up.
Yeah, I totally agree. But that was some good driving. Before we move on to the next guy, are there anyone you would like to thank or anything?
I would like to thank Jonas and Eracing Studio and everyone who is involved in this series, and of course all my sponsors, Niklas Aerial Media, Swedish Rig Designs, and all of those who are helping us in several ways.
Yeah, super good driving, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you.
So we'll see if we can have a chat with Linus Broström as well, our second place driver. Are you with us, Linus?
I'm here.
Yeah, and we also got some video. So, how was the race from your perspective?
It was quite interesting, quite good racing at the beginning, trying to get everybody to lead a lap, and I saw NHR did the same, so just trying to be up front and stay out of any trouble. And after that first caution, we didn't really know if we were going to take tires or not, but in the end we decided to do it. And obviously it didn't really matter because Marcus didn't take tires and he still kept up. So from that point on, I tried to save some fuel to try and make it on one stop to the end. But after I made my pit stop, I realized that had all been a waste, because we were still going to be 2 or 3 laps short. So thankfully I was still able to catch up to Marcus and Robert, and then after the final pit stop we just had to pit early enough that we could catch up to anybody not taking any tires on the final pit stop, but late enough that a late caution would not put us at a disadvantage on the tires. So I think that worked out quite well, because we caught Rickard with like 2 or 3 laps to go, and unfortunately we weren't able to get all 3 cars ahead of him. And after me and Marcus passed, it was kind of discussion, should we go back and help Robert and risk him getting back past one of us, or should we just go? But we just tried to hold on to the win there and get a 1-2, and I tried to set up a move coming out of the final corner, but I got a bit tight, so couldn't really do anything about Marcus there. But it's a great effort from the team. 1-2-4 here in the EEL is great, and it's a real shame Alex got involved in something again. I'm not really seeing what happened there, but I hope his luck will turn around as well. But still great effort from the whole team, and an amazing way to get a 1-2-4 finish here as well.
Yeah, really good driving. Any shoutouts?
The team first and foremost. Marcus and Robert for a great race here today. Great teamwork all the way through, and Alex as well. It's unfortunate, like I said, that he was getting involved in an incident, and the rest of the team as well that are not here in this series but in the Swedish E-Racing League, and then you guys for putting this on, and to all the other drivers for a great race. Good driving, and we'll move on to the next guy. Let's see. So, Marcus, are you with me?
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah, that was some excellent driving.
Yeah, that was fun. That was.
Now, was it a better win than the last one?
I would say yes, a little bit, because this was more of a team effort, and it wasn't that much depending on tire strategy and yellow flags.
Yeah.
Since we went green for a very long time. So yeah, I will actually rate this one higher, and also beating Linus to the line. Not many people do that, I know that. And yeah, I will rate this higher.
Yeah, strategy was quite important. Do you think it would have been possible to do it on one stop? No,
Absolutely not. It was too many laps short already, so that would maybe if you go like 25% throttle, but then you'll be a lap behind, so it doesn't really matter. So well, stopping finishing the race on two stop only was not possible.
Yeah. In the end, superb driving from you and from your team. And finally, are there any shout-outs you would like to do, or anyone to thank?
Yeah, first of all, for a shout-out to everybody who make the league possible, and to all the drivers who shows up. Unfortunately, we had a little drop in participants as of now, which is quite sad, but I think to the next season we could get some more drivers. To my family for letting me drive, and for 4C Sport family for all the support and all the help, and discussing strategy. I can say our Discord was really hot.
I can imagine.
We were discussing back and forth over taking 2 tires, 4 tires, how much fuel do we got. So yeah, everybody basically who makes it happen should be thanked.
Yeah, good driving, and I bet we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. I'm not missing this now when I had 2 wins. So
we'll
thank you for commentating and make the broadcast happen. It means a lot.
Yeah, it's super fun. So we'll see you next time on Talladega.
Absolutely.
And that concludes the interviews, and big thanks from us at Eracing to all the drivers, all the viewers. A big thank to our colleagues at Raceport for commentating, and we'll see you all next time in 2 weeks on Talladega. Have a good one.